Lester Levinson had an expression for manifesting abundance. He called it the BUT system. That's a pretty funny sounding name, but it accurately describes what is required in order for you to perfect the art of allowing abundance into your life. And today, we're going to explore what the BUT system is all about. Check this out. Welcome to the Power of Quiet, showing you a side of yourself that is absolutely unlimited and is free of all troubles and effort and negativity, and free to be happy and healthy and have abundance in your life. And what we do is show you not just how to identify this unlimited side of yourself, but bring it out in the world in a very tangible way, so you can actually demonstrate it and prove to yourself just how unlimited you are. And if that's something that you're into and you're new here, then hit subscribe. And if you find what I show you on this video here to be valuable, then make sure and hit like. Now, what I'm going to show you today is something that Lester Levinson, the spiritual master, described as, how you manifest abundance in the world, how you do the law of attraction. His way of putting it is, he called it the BUT system. Now, it's a pretty funny sounding name. And when we think of the BUT system, we might think of, well, maybe twerking, or maybe something a bit naughtier than that. But the BUT system is just simply, you sit on your butt and do absolutely nothing but release. Let go of your negativity. And that's what we show you how to do. Just a very simple, practical way of letting go of your negative feelings, your negative, self-defeating thoughts, those programs that just continue to run in your mind, those I can'ts, self-sabotage programs. We show you how to release all that stuff. And once you release that stuff out of your mind, you get rid of all that negativity. What is left over is just something that is naturally positive. So positive that you don't need to add anything to it. You don't need to add any affirmations. You don't need to reprogram your mind. You don't need to visualize or hold in pictures and walk around with those until they manifest, right? That's really doing it the hard way. That's trying to override the negativity with all this positive programming, and it's unnecessary. You just get rid of the negativity. You see that inherently you're already positive, and to demonstrate that, it's just the most effortless thing after that point. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to just doing absolutely nothing and releasing, right? The mind, it doesn't understand that. And see, what the BUT system is, it's going beyond the mind. And what it's saying is that the highest action that anybody can take is releasing. That's it. Just letting go. But not to the mind, right? The mind is always into, all right, so now I'm nice and released and quiet. Now what do I do? Now what? When is it going to happen? How's it going to happen? See, the mind is not satisfied with just sitting around and doing nothing. The mind is a very agitated thing. And it likes to agitate you and get you to try to figure it out. And get you to want to know what the answer is. And to want to be dissatisfied with just being still. No, that's not enough. I got to go do something now. And that just sends you spinning around and really getting nowhere. Now, the more you pay attention to that mind and how it talks to you, the more you notice what a negative thing that is. Even though we have a habit of relying on that mind and treating it like it's our best friend, when you just notice how it talks to you, you see how restless it is and how it's quick to be judgmental and critical and quick to convince you to beat yourself up when things don't go your way, or there's a problem in your life, or you're struggling. It just goes right into, oh, so you can't get that right? Beat yourself up. Or you have this problem? Beat yourself up. And you notice that's how the mind talks to you constantly, day in and day out. And yet we treat that thing like it's our friend, like we're supposed to listen to it. But when you get into trying to figure out and understand these higher teachings that these masters are expressing to us and leading us towards, the mind will never get you there. Yet we have this habit of trying to rely on that mind and trying to figure out what the but system is all about. And that's what Lester's point is all about. Get away from that mind. Just sit on your butt and allow it to happen. Now, if the mind is a very negative thing, allowing is something that is completely the opposite of that. Because first of all, allowing, it's in a high energy. It's in a place of acceptance and love. And when you say, I allow it to happen, that implies that you don't go into your mind trying to figure it out. You just get out of the way and allow it to happen. And it just shows up. And that whole concept is totally foreign to the mind and totally foreign to us, because we're into doing things and figuring out, okay, what do I have to do next? And figuring it out and spinning around and wanting, which is the antithesis of allowing. It is actually pushing away what it is that we want to create. And that's why we struggle with the law of attraction. And we spin around and we intellectualize it, and we try to kid ourselves about us being powerful spiritual beings, yet we can't really demonstrate it. But we like to talk about it. And again, the mind will like to convince us, hey, I know what it's all about. I could tell you all about it. I heard Eckhart Tolle talking about it. I read about it in this book and so on. But it just keeps you locked into a concept, into a dream that's actually separate from actually doing it. And that's really what Lester's point is if you want to do the but system, you just simply do it. There's no thinking about it. There's nothing to figure out about it. Either you do it or you don't do it. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do now, is get your mind out of the way so you can experience how to do it. So first of all, right now, think about a big goal of yours. Maybe that goal is to be a millionaire or a multimillionaire. Just by manifesting it. Not by starting a business, not by working hard for it, or figuring out, well, maybe I have to have a rich uncle or win the lottery or whatever. Just simply manifesting it by getting out of the way. Now, see if your mind knows how to do that. Ask it right now if it knows how to do that. It doesn't have a clue, does it? And if you sit there and try to figure it out, and your mind doesn't have an answer, and by the way, it probably doesn't have an answer on how to be a millionaire otherwise. It might have some ideas, but it doesn't know exactly how to do it, a step-by-step approach that will guarantee that you get it. You don't have that information in your mind. So what is the use of sitting there asking something that doesn't have an answer? Yet, out of habit, we try to keep figuring it out. All right, tell me what to do. What is that answer? Maybe it's over here. Maybe I need to read this. Maybe I need to go listen to this expert present about it, and on and on and on. And that's what the mind will do. It drags us all over the place. It says, okay, no, I'm going to take you over here to look for the answer. No, over there, over here, over there. It drags us all over the place, spins us around. And what do we end up with at the end of all of that? Still no answer. But on top of that, what does that mind tell us? It says, aha, you haven't been able to figure it out? Well, here's my advice. Beat yourself up. or beat them up. Oh, it's impossible. It'll never happen. They don't know what they're talking about. They're scammers. Nobody knows. You just have to take whatever the world gives you or rationalize about it. Oh, well, being a millionaire, that's not important anyway. I don't need to do that. So you block out the fact that you can't do it and that frustration, try to rationalize around it so you feel a little bit better. But you're just stuck with your mind that still has no answer and just continues to get you to beat yourself up. Now, take a look to see if you've been disapproving of yourself. Maybe you've been looking to be a millionaire for a while and you haven't been able to figure it out, or you haven't been able to accomplish it, or whatever your goal is, right? See if you've been beating yourself up about it, getting frustrated, judging yourself, all that fun stuff. Now, how does it help you to beat yourself up? It doesn't. That's not going to accomplish anything positive by you being negative. And notice I said you being negative, because who is it who's doing that? Of course, that's what your mind tells you to do. But who's doing the beating up? Who's taking yourself down that negative pathway? That's walking that road. You are. That's totally up to you, right? See, your mind can talk to you and tell you to beat yourself up, but who's it talking to? Who is that mind talking to? And who's making the choice to agree with it and say, yeah, you're right. I'm going to beat myself up now. That's you. Now, if you're doing it and it doesn't accomplish anything by you acting so negatively, well, maybe you could do something different. Make a better decision now. A decision that I'm going to be positive and love myself no matter what, or I'm going to be negative and beat myself up. Now, since it's up to you, what do you decide? Do you decide to be positive and love yourself? Or do you decide to be negative and beat yourself up? Now, a lot of us, we might say, well, I love myself all the time. I have such gratitude and appreciation. But if we're honest with ourselves, we're always complaining, rah, 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 and always getting into a funk and criticizing ourselves and feeling frustrated. So even though we may pretend to be so positive and loving, all we have to do is just really take an honest look at what we're really doing. See, it's not what you say, it's what you do. And see, you can't kid yourself. There's no faking it till you make it. Either you do it or you don't. So it starts with the decision right now. I'm just going to be positive and love myself no matter what. I'm going to do it to the point of being imperturbable. So I'm not bothered by anything that's going on. I'm not going to be bothered by anything that my mind tells me. So what do you decide? Now, if you're honest with yourself and see that, yeah, I'm beating myself up. I don't like what's going on. I don't like this self-image that I have about myself. Even if it's just this small, right? This negative, limited image that I have of myself. I'm going to let go of disapproving of that. Right? So could you let go of disapproving of yourself? And this is just a simple decision, yes or no. Could you let go of disapproving of yourself? And could you let go of disapproving of yourself a little bit more? And could you let go of disapproving of yourself a little bit more? And could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more? And some more. And even more. And could you let go disapproving of yourself even more? And more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And notice how I guide you to letting go a little bit more and a little bit more. Because this habit of beating ourselves up, it's so strong. We do it 1,000 times a day. If we really pay attention, we see we're doing it all the time. Even those of us that are so-called positive, we're constantly doing it, and we've been doing it our whole life. So it's a strong habit, a habit that has a lot of momentum to it. So it's like turning around an oil tanker, right? The oil tanker doesn't do a 180-degree spin all at once, right? It has to kind of hit the brakes, and it turns, and it turns a bit more, it turns a bit more until it goes the opposite direction. And so that's the same way that we just get bigger than this habit. We let a little bit of it go, right? As much as we can let go of in the moment. And once we let that go, we got to let go of a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. Now I say this because sometimes people go, well, this sounds kind of redundant or even boring, right? All you're saying is, could you let go some more, and more, and more, and more? Well, if you actually do it, it's not redundant. You experience going a little bit deeper each time, and getting a little bit freer each time, and more, and more. So could you let go disapproving of yourself a little bit more? And a little bit more. And a little bit more. And even more. And a little bit more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And how does that feel? Just notice how you feel. Feel a little bit lighter? Now that lighter feeling is essentially you getting out of that mind, getting out of that negative space, and it's only negative. Every bit of it is negative. You know, the more you release, the more you see, there's really nothing positive about that mind at all. And that lighter feeling, that is the real you. That's the unlimited you that I spoke about earlier. That's the part of you that has no limitation and no effort, no struggle at all. And let's go further into that. Now, could you give yourself a little bit of approval? And this isn't sitting here telling yourself how great you are, because that's going back to listen to your mind. And it's like listening to a sycophant talk to you. You really get nowhere with that. No, it's a simple choice now. Yes or no? Could you like yourself a little bit? Could you give yourself a little bit of approval? That's all. And for no reason. Just because. And could you give yourself a little bit more approval? Just because. And a little bit more. And more. And more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And could you like yourself some more? And could you like yourself despite what's going on? Even if you do have struggles, or you're not getting your goal, could you like yourself anyway? Yes or no? And could you give yourself some more approval? And more. And some more. And how does that feel? Now see if your mind is quieter. Now when you're quiet, that's where you're most powerful. When your mind is noisy, that's because you're into figuring it out. And you're looking for an answer, and you're restless, and you need to do something. You need to take some sort of action. You don't know what, but got to do something. Can't stand still. And that's listening to your mind. That just keeps you agitated and spinning around and getting nowhere. But when you're nice and positive, you don't need to do anything. You're just nice and peaceful. But of course, the mind that's still there jumps in and says, okay, this is nice, but now what? Now what do I do? Now I got to go figure it out. And see, you got to catch it. Go, I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to keep releasing. And see, what you have to do is just release all of your I can'ts. That's exactly what the butt system is about. You just sit on your butt and release all of your I can'ts. And your mind is loaded with I can'ts. I can't do it because I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not old enough. Or I'm too old. Whatever. And your mind will point you to all sorts of proof out there. Well, see, that's why you can't do it. Right? There's proof right there. Others are struggling. Therefore, you can't do it either. But whatever seems real out there, as far as limitations go, how do you know any of it's true? All of those I can'ts and limitations are coming to you right now as information from your mind. It's only what your mind is telling you. That's where all those I can'ts reside. So think about an I can't that you have about your goal, that goal to be a multimillionaire. And notice, when you look at that I can't, there's probably a contraction there. You see, the mind itself, it's just a computer. It's just a recording and playback machine. That's it. And so it takes in all this information. It hears other people say, well, you can't do it because of blah, blah, blah. It records that information in and it repeats it back to you nonstop, forever. See, the mind from the neck up, it doesn't erase any of that garbage. But where you can erase it is from the neck down, in your stomach or chest area. So when you think about that I can't, see, put your attention down towards your stomach or chest. It might help you to close your eyes, even put your head down towards your stomach or chest. And see if you notice a tightness or contraction there. And what that's showing you is you're suppressing that negativity and, in effect, holding on to it and keeping it there when it wants to leave. And that's why it feels so tight and uncomfortable. So wherever you feel that right now, just open up an imaginary window or door right there, wherever that contraction is in your stomach or chest. Just open up an imaginary door and allow that energy now just to go out that door. Just let that energy leave. Just see it as energy. That's all it is. It's not good. It's not bad. Just energy passing through that door. And let that energy go a little bit more. Just watch it leave out that door. And more. And even 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 more. And just let that energy leave, nice and easy now. And notice how that feels. Does that feel light? just letting that energy go out the door. And again, notice all you had to do is just open up that door, let that energy leave. You didn't need to do anything. You don't need to force it out, because that energy, that negative feeling, it wants to leave. It doesn't belong there. But all this time, you've been suppressing it, but now you just open it up. And it just leaves on its own. See, talk about allowing. And just as you allow this energy to leave, you can allow abundance to happen. Now, just to prove the point about how you're suppressing and even pushing away your goal and pushing away abundance, just imagine allowing yourself. Simply allowing yourself right now. Nothing else but allowing. Allowing yourself to be a millionaire. Just imagine that. Right now. See if you can allow that. And notice that there's a contraction there. Maybe you have some resistance. Or maybe some wanting or lust is getting stirred up. Oh, I really want that. Again, that's going to bring a contraction there. Want is negative. Right? So just see if you have a contraction. And that's showing you what's in the way, what's blocking you from having abundance. So open up and let the energy go. And let it go some more. And some more. And even more. And even more. And just let that energy pass through. You don't need to know what it is, where it came from, how it got there, what trauma it originated from. Doesn't matter. Just energy, and it wants to leave. Get out of the way. Let it leave. Just let that energy pass through. And some more. And even more. And even more. And notice how you feel. And now, again, imagine just allowing yourself to have abundance. See if it's a little bit easier to do that. A little bit more natural feeling. More of a sense of, yeah, I can. And I can see results. And it's not a mental thing. It's just more intuitive. Like, yeah, I can. You feel it. Notice that? And also to prove just how your mind will stop you once you get into that, imagine not taking any action right now to get that goal. Taking no action whatsoever. See if that brings up a contraction. See, that's your restless mind telling you, oh, I got to do something. Or I got to figure it out. And that blocks you. It keeps you stuck. So open up. Let that energy go now. And more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And notice how you feel. See, when you just stick to the basics of letting go, whatever gets stirred up and whatever contraction or negativity or resistance that you feel, or the obvious habits of going back and beating yourself up, getting frustrated, all that stuff, it becomes absolutely clear what's in the way. And yet, when we listen to our mind, it says, oh, well, you can't do it, or the method doesn't work, something else needs to be added to it, it's too simple, it needs this other thing to be complete. Nonsense. The butt system is perfectly clear and simple. You just sit on your butt and release whatever gets stirred up until there's nothing left. You just keep letting go. And notice, as we've been doing this, every time you open up, it just gets lighter and lighter and better. And that's you waking up to the free being that you are. So stick with us and practice this and see if you can make this constant, more constant than the habit of doing otherwise, the habit of listening to your mind. Just pay attention to how that thing talks. See, it can be there, it can still talk to you, but who said that you had to take it so seriously? Just take whatever comes up, let it go, and let that take you wherever it's going. So have fun with that. Enjoy your releasing, and I'll see you on the next video.